Florida Gators fight, but the fight's not quite enough, and the Gators go down to Georgia 24-20 for the fifth straight loss in the world's largest outdoor cocktail party. You're going to talk about all that, plus a little bit of hoops. Gator basketball getting off the ground tonight with a loss to Arizona in a virtual road game in Las Vegas. We'll talk about all that in a little bit, but first things first, he's Adrian. I'm Neil at Gator Diamond Pod for Adrian for all his Gator baseball stuff, at All Kinds Weather for me for Gators football and basketball stuff. Going to tag team things as the fall practices start to wind down and Gator football starts to wind down and Gator basketball kicks into high gear. That's how we're going to be divvying this up. Please be sure to like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Give us a 5-star rating and a nice review on Apple Podcasts. All that stuff helps us bring you more great Gators content. Also got to take a second to shout out 401k Generation, our proud sponsor, the wealth management company that helps you invest today for your future tomorrow. Their team of advisors is committed to providing guidance and education for your 401k plan and its participants, and they also offer a range of enrollment solutions tailored to meet the unique needs of your company's 401k plan. Whether it's savings for your child's college, investment advice, or even just your retirement, 401k Generation's team of advisors makes getting to know you their top priority. Their advisors will tailor a path to assist you in navigating life's financial milestones and reaching your financial goals. 401k Generation, building stronger futures, one generation at a time. For more information, please contact them, 866-998-5879, or visit their website at 401kgeneration.com. Also, be sure to check out our Patreon, patreon.com/CFBforecaster, where you can get exclusive access to everything behind the and all kinds of weather forecaster model, which is how Dustin gets freakishly close to nailing some of these scores. And in fact, bullseyed it for the Mississippi State game. You want to know how he does it? Go check out the Patreon and you'll see for yourself. You'll get top 25 power ratings, complete 136 team rankings, weekly game-by-game projections with model spreads, totals, win probabilities, and more. Again, patreon.com/CFBforecaster. All right, Adrian, the Gators kicked off the post-Billy Napier era, began the Billy Gonzalez era with a 24-20 loss. There were points in the game where you felt like the Gators were going to get the job done. They ultimately don't. They fall 24-20 to the Dogs, actually the second time we've seen that score in the last 15 years. Georgia also beating Florida 24-20 in 2011. This time around, I think Florida had a lot of pieces that were working on offense, especially on defense, especially for most of the game. They got broken at the very end, the touchdown run to put Georgia up for good, 24-20. Kind of unfortunate after Florida, I think, does a really good job for most of the game. They have the pressure on Gunnar Stockton late in the first half. They're calling it an incomplete pass. It looks like Jordan Castell poked the ball out just before the arm starts to come forward. It doesn't matter. The refs make the call. It is what it is. And then, of course, the J. Michael Sturdivant catch on a ball from DJ Lagway that, frankly, was woefully underthrown. The mechanics of DJ Lagway are just not where they're supposed to be. They're just awful, frankly. Keep it respectful, but keep it real. You gotta plant and drive. You gotta plant the feet and really drive the ball forward. And he's kind of flicking it like a baseball, and that hurt because that ball was underthrown when Sturdivant was behind the defense and could have walked into the end zone. Instead, he has to make a dive to even attempt to catch the ball. Puts it in the hands of the officials. They call it incomplete. Florida loses again 24-20. All right, Adrian, that's the quick and dirty of the recap. We talk positives first on this show. What stuck out to you in a positive sense from this loss?
Well, in a positive sense was Trey Wilson taking out a witness protection program, man. Eugene Wilson, the guy they called Trey, like they used to say last year, almost every podcast. It just makes you wonder what Billy Napier had against Trey Wilson. I mean, I know Trey Wilson was playing in for VB3, okay, and he was playing in that slot position that VB3 has been started in, basically. But, geez, man, the guy could run some routes and catch some balls and do some stuff with it. You'd think we could have used them the last, year and a half. But that's neither here nor there. But Trey Wilson, definite positive. I thought the offense just was a lot smoother in general. even though it was only, 20 points, I guess. But, geez, it sure did look smoother, man. There was no wasted timeouts. I looked up at the end of the second half, and we still had 3 timeouts. At the end of the first half, we still had 3 timeouts. There was no 12 men on the field penalties. It looked like there was always 11 men on the field. Got plays in on a timely manner to DJ. You know, what he did with those plays, we'll talk later on, but at least the plays seemed to be coming in a lot smoother. There was no delay of game penalties, especially coming off of timeouts and stuff like that. No subbing issues, no real botched coaching decisions in this game management. I thought the 4th down call to go for it, that was the right call. I mean, by far. Anybody who thinks that was the wrong call is nutso. Field goal there does nothing. It gets you up 6. Georgia gets the ball, they drive down, they score a touchdown, you still lose. You got the chance to put the game away there by getting a 1st down and hopefully getting a touchdown. The game's put away. So you have to take that call or make that decision. I'm not crazy about the play call. Could have done stuff to get out of it and stuff like that. If you have a quarterback that's really on top of his game, Neil, on that 4th down play, when the Georgia's D-line shifts over, call timeout. Because they shifted right to where you were going to run. I mean, literally right to where you were going to run. All of a sudden,
and you call a timeout, just to clarify, you call a timeout by going like this, right?
Call a timeout.
You call a timeout like that. It's not just clapping. You call a timeout by going like that, right?
Okay. Old school. Okay. Like the old school timeout.
That's how Urban Meyer did it back in 2008 when the game was over.
Exactly.
Right.
So, you know, other than that, man, good game. The Gators were in it the whole way through. Like we like to say here, a lot of meat left on that bone, especially in that first half. I think the Gators left a whole bunch of points out on that field. And it came back to haunt them. I mean, I have here my handy-dandy keys to victory. Number 2, get ahead, stay ahead. Georgia had trailed in 4 of their 5 SEC games this season. They went into the halftime tied against Florida, so not trailing. And we definitely had more than one chance to get Georgia trailing at halftime, and we did it. So missed opportunities, it's expected. You know, Georgia's a solid team. They know how to win. They've been doing it there now for 10 years, and we have not for the last 10 years, basically. And it showed on Saturday. One team made the plays to win. The other team botched the plays to win. So, and that's basically the difference in that ball game, Neil. But that was somewhat positive, right? That was positive.
Yeah, it was positive enough. I mean, the very granular fact that Billy Napier is gone is a positive.
That's a
positive. We saw the results of Billy Napier being gone. I mean, the offense itself, there was less gimmicky nonsense to it, right? Less of this side-to-side pre-snap window dressing that, by the way, nobody is fooled by. Nobody was fooled by that by game 2 of his tenure in Florida. Yet they're still doing the same nonsense in year 4. So good. The jig is up. Try something else. Maybe attack the defense down the field. I don't know, the way that you've recruited your roster to be able to do with guys like Dallas Wilson, who now is gone for the season. But okay, point being, you have Dallas Wilson and Vernell Brown. You've got a deep ball throwing quarterback in DJ Lagway, or so we believe. So take advantage. Do what you recruited those guys to do. Run a downfield passing attack, and the Gators do it. You know, Billy Gonzalez called the game for the roster that we have, for the roster that we recruited, as opposed to a system that's supposed to work if everyone does their job perfectly, right? No, we're so gone and done and finished with that. And it was just nice to be able to see, for once in the last 4 seasons, a coach actually do what the talent that was amassed on his roster was amassed to do. You amassed this talent to have a downfield vertical passing game. And even though Lagway was far from perfect on this day, including the underthrown ball to third event that we talked about at the start, he made a few plays down the field. A touchdown. He had a deep touchdown strike. All right, Trey Wilson catching a bomb, I think, from 43 yards when Lagway was flushed out of the pocket. That was great. Lagway also hit a couple of other balls deep down not deep down the field, but to his open receivers in the flat, I should say. J. Michael Sturdivant catching a pair of passes for 21 yards, including one for 13. Jaden Baugh also making some plays out of the backfield. The workhorse pass catcher from the backfield, 3 catches for 17 yards. And then what I meant to say, it's late at night as we're recording this, but what I meant to say is Jaden Baugh is making plays happen out of the backfield. Jaden Baugh, 15 carries, 72 yards. If you combine the rushing statistics with the receptions, he touches the ball 18 times for a combined 93 yards. And he earned every single one of those yards, an average of more than 5 yards per touch. I mean, Florida's not in this game, I don't think, without Jaden Baugh, because the stats are the stats, and they're good, but they're not eye-poppingly tremendous. But you watch the tape, and he earned every single inch of those. A lot of those yards coming after first contact. He just worked. And, the phrase workhorse, the guy worked for every single inch that he gained. And I don't think this is a game without him, for as well as Florida's defense did for most of the game. You talked about 11 men being on the field at all times. The only thing I noticed, Trey Wilson did come on the field for a punt a little bit late, but in time to field the punt. Florida did not have to call a timeout for it. It was a little somewhat sort of discombobulated, but still a far cry from the absolute cluster F that we're used to seeing under Billy Napier. So it's a step in the right direction. It sucked that Florida couldn't pull the win out. It would have been incredible to just destroy Georgia's season again after doing so in 02, 03, 05, and 14. But look, the Gators are clearly a better team without Billy Napier in the building and on the sideline, and they almost took down a top 5 team. Now, transition the conversation to what happens next year if the new coach is able to maintain most of this talent. Now, obviously, you're going to lose some guys because they're out of eligibility. Like Jake Slaughter's gone. You can't do anything about that. Austin Barber's gone. You can't do anything about that. But then again, you've got this young receiver corps. If you're going to do a complete reset with DJ Lagway, and you work with him on his footwork, and you work with him on his throwing mechanics, and you reteach him to plant and drive the ball forward with confidence, and you get Dallas Wilson back, and you get Vernell Brown back, and you develop Amir Jackson into a legitimate pass-catching tight end. This team has the pieces to be successful in year one with the right coach. That is my positive. I don't do the almost. I don't do the moral victories. It's a loss. I know I said that Florida fought, and that was encouraging, and it is. But at the end of the day, it's another loss. And Florida's now lost 5 in a row to Georgia, and that absolutely sucks. But the positive is, from what I saw with this program, with Billy Napier's grubby paws no longer all over the operation, there's enough to legitimately be happy about, and I should say hopeful about, that this team could compete for a natty year one of the new coach. All right. We got to talk about the catch that wasn't, the catch that we thought should have been to J. Michael Sturdivant. First of all, the throw was awful. It was well short. It was woefully underthrown. That ball's thrown correctly with good mechanics and with more accuracy. And if it's just rainbowed down the field, it's an easy walk-in touchdown. The fact that it even gets to be a decision by the referees is because it is so badly underthrown. But nonetheless, it did look like that ball was caught. And after it went to review, the referees confirmed the call on the field. They upheld the call on the field, said it was no catch. Adrian, you watched on TV. What did you think?
Well, when it was first live, it looked like an incompletion all the way. I mean, wasn't even close. Once they showed the replay, then you're like, whoa. Looks like he caught it. But I thought after the replay, analyzing about 3 or 4 shots of it, I think he caught it. But, of course, I have orange and blue colored glasses on, right? But I think whatever the call on the field, it's what was going to be held up. I don't think there was enough there to overturn it. I know that sounds like a little cop-out, but unfortunately, that's the way the rules are written, right? The rule is written that unless there is conclusive evidence to overturn the call, you have to go with the one on the field. So you got to change the rule if you want, this call to be overturned, right? Because honestly, it was so tight. Yeah, it looked like the ball hits his left forearm, and that's when it kind of rotates a little bit. But that ball's coming down with so much force that it's almost impossible to believe that it didn't touch the ground in some fashion. Because no matter what, there's going to be a hole in between both of your arms. He didn't have his arms like this, okay? He had them like this. So it's almost impossible to believe that the ball didn't touch the ground in this area somehow. You didn't really see it, but you did not really see it either, if that makes any sense. So if it was ruled a catch, no way I think that you could overturn it. If they overturned it, if it was ruled a catch, now we have huge controversy, right? You combine that with the other call from earlier and stuff like that. But, hey, you got to make that throw, dude. You got to make that throw, though, right? At the end of the day, it's DJ Lagway with another off-balance, off-platform, throwing it off his back foot. And he wasn't pressured, okay? I see people trying to defend Lagway because it's funny, man. Gator Nation, wow, I don't know why we do this to ourselves or why it keeps happening. We've kind of traded now the Napier argument, the pro Billy, the against Billy, to now we've traded it with DJ, right? Now we have the DJ Lagway apologists and the ones that are like, guys, we have a problem here, okay? We have a problem. We have a problem here with DJ. That's just the way it is. The guy's playing. He's the worst quarterback in the SEC right now. I mean, I think he's neck and neck with Jackson Arnold, but it's like close, man. I mean, it's a coin toss between him and Jackson Arnold as to who's the worst quarterback in the SEC. He had plenty of time to throw that ball. Not only did he have Sturdivant open by like 20 yards, he had Trey Wilson right at the logo at the 50-yard line, quarantined, nobody, about 30 yards around him in a circumference. Now, is that what that is? Because I sucked at geometry. Circumference is like the circle, right? Okay, so a 30-yard...
It's like the perimeter, but of a round shape. Yeah.
Beautiful. A 30-yard circumference around Trey Wilson, no Bulldog in there. He had him too. So if he felt that was too far, or if his arm, which is my opinion, is probably about 70% of what it was last year, maybe just take Trey then instead of trying to hit that pass, even though it was only like 50 yards. But you got to make that throw, man. You got to make that throw. So I wasn't upset about it once it was ruled incomplete and upheld. I really wasn't upset about it. I was more upset at the, obviously the bad throw. But yeah, man, how did you see it?
Yeah, it looked like a catch to me. I mean, I was about at the 25, 30-yard line or so, but I was up in the higher section, the 400s. It looked like a catch to me, but right away I thought, oh God, DJ, you gave the refs an opportunity to screw Florida over. You can't do that. You've got to play. I think there was an old Spurrier quote, or I'll paraphrase it because it is very late at night when we're recording this, but it's something along the lines of you play to win the game by enough points that the refs don't have the opportunity to decide it for you. Like if you strive to win the game by 30 and then you win the game by 20 because the refs screwed you over, great. You won by 20 points. Everyone's happy. You blew them out. But if you live to win games by a single score the way that Billy Napier just loved to do, then you're going to be on the wrong side of these kinds of things. And look, Billy Napier's gone again, of course, but again, this is his offense. He's the one who did put DJ Lagway on the field after he was hurt, and it's very clear he's continuing to not feel great. Something is clearly wrong with him for those mechanics to be what he displays when he's not pressured. So Napier is the one who either didn't coach him out of it or wouldn't put Tremel Jones in the game when it was clear that Lagway could not escape his own limitations. So this is Napier's fault the way that every other loss was, because it's his roster and his limitations are what did Florida in. Because again, Florida's the team that is going to put 1 billion points on the board. We grew up with Spurrier. We grew up with Urban, Danny Werfel, Tim Tebow winning Heisman trophies, guys like Riedel Anthony and Ike Hilliard and Percy Harvin. And then even in the non-championship years, you've got guys like Rashae Caldwell and you got Jabbar Gaffney. And you just know Florida for scoring billions of points and doing it in truckloads. And they can do it at any given moment. And if you have a Danny Werfel or a Tim Tebow, or not even them, if you have a Jesse Palmer at quarterback, if you have a Chris Leak or a Rex Grossman or a Shane Matthews at quarterback, one of those guys who didn't win the Heisman, and you've got a guy 30 yards behind the defense, it's game over. It's a touchdown. You don't even think about it. Like there's no world in which those quarterbacks let that play ultimately get decided by the referees. It's just an automatic touchdown. Maybe it's not even a perfect throw, but it doesn't have to be perfect. Just put it in his general vicinity behind the defense, and it's the easiest touchdown the guy's ever going to get in his life. It was Billy Napier who did not fix DJ Lagway's mechanics this offseason. And if the excuse to that is, well, Lagway was hurt, so there's nothing to fix because he physically couldn't because he was hurt. Okay, then Napier's the one who refused to give Tremel Jones the reins to this offense. Either way you want to look at this, it is on Billy Napier, and it is a ding against his already damaged record at the University of Florida. So that was that. Long story short, control what you can control. Don't leave the game in the ref's hands.
Did you watch the replay? Have you had a chance to watch the replay?
Yeah, I did.
Jordan Rodgers? Did you listen to Jordan Rodgers?
Yeah.
Dude, like every other possession, he was critiquing DJ Lagway. Like every other Florida possession. He was just going off on his footwork, on taking too big a stride back, which gets him off balance, just on everything, man. Listen, let's talk about this a little bit because Tremel Jones has played one game, right?
Half of one game.
Whatever. It's been one game. We have 4 games left. You have 4 games that you could play to maintain your red shirt. And I get it. That's a big thing. If you're Tremel Jones' handlers, his agent, his parents, I mean, nowadays, dude, that is one whole year that you're taking away from one of these kids from making potentially $1 million. I mean, Castellanos got paid $1 million as a fifth-year senior to go quarterback Florida State, okay? So you got to really, really think about it when you're going to burn someone's red shirt, okay? So I'm hoping that that's why this is happening, okay? Because if DJ Lagway's name was Ernesto Gutierrez, dude would not be playing quarterback for the Florida Gators. Okay? Somebody else will. Be it a freshman, be it Aiden Warner, be it freaking Milliken. What's that guy's name that they got from
Millen?
Yeah, Millen.
From Colorado State.
In there. Dude, it would not be Lagway. I mean, plain and simple. So I'm hoping that next week, Kentucky, you're probably not going to see Jones no matter what. It's going to be DJ's game, barring an injury. No one wants to see that. But after that, with 3 games left, I hope we see some of Jones, man. Go ahead. Start Lagway, okay? once stuff starts going wonky or something, bring in Jones for a couple series. Just see what it looks like, man. It ain't gonna get better. His footwork is not gonna get better. His pocket presence. Listen, Neil, it's not only the passes that he's missing, missing passes. It's the passes that he's not even making. The players he's not even seeing because he's not reads. Yeah. Because he's not. No. But he's also not moving up in the pocket. His pocket presence is awful. Okay, he doesn't move up in the pocket. He's got a good pocket. He could move up, find some targets downfield. People are open, but he like drifts back and then he starts to scrum. He's like 20, 25 pounds overweight too. He runs like he has a piano on his back. It could be his calf. It's probably a little bit of both. I mean, he's a mess. He really is. I'm trying to keep it fair, but I'm trying to keep it honest, man. I mean, he's a mess. I think his shoulder's bad. The ball to Sturdivant, it looked like it kind of waffled there, like at the end, like a dead duck. I mean, I think someone was like at the 40-yard line with a shotgun, ready to shoot that bad boy down, man. Quack, quack. I mean, he's a mess, dude. He's a mess. He's not the reason. He's not helping you win these ball games. Period. Are you telling me that DJ Lagway is helping the Gators win these ball games, or are the Gators in these games despite DJ Lagway?
Yeah, I mean, Lagway made a couple of nice plays here and there, but they were few and far between. The touchdown to Trey Wilson was a nice ball, but yeah, I mean,
that was a broken play. Play.
No, it was still nice awareness to make that throw on the sideline, but yeah, I mean, nonetheless, just not a fantastic day for DJ Lagway. 15 for 24, 166 yards, and the one touchdown. Did manage to protect the ball and not throw a pick, but just that's not what Florida expected out of him. It's not why he was a 5-star rated guy out of high school. It's just a mess. So the question is, I mean, you alluded to the future of this team, but is Florida going to make a bowl game this year? Because at Kentucky, a game that Florida is favored in, that opened as 3.5-point favorite for Florida. But then you go to Ole Miss and what could be an all-time hostile environment there with the juice about Kim, no pun intended, about him coming to Florida. And then you got 2 home games against rivals, Tennessee and FSU. Florida's got to get 3. Are they going to get 3 of the next 4 and make a bowl game?
I say no. I think they come up 1 game short. I got them at 5-7 now to end the season. If you want me to pick them right now, I got them winning against Kentucky. I got them losing Ole Miss. I mean, that's going to be just a madhouse. Are you going to that game too, right?
I am going to that game.
Man, that should be interesting. And then you got the 2 home games to end it. Tennessee and Florida State, 2 bitter rivals, man. I would love to go WW on that, and you get to 6-6, go to a bowl game, beat both rivals. But man, I just see us splitting that. And if you had to put a gun to my head, I'll go Tennessee. We take the loss on that one, which will suck because 2003, last time Tennessee won a game at the Swamp. And I think we beat FSU. It could easily go the other way. But I see a split there. I just don't see us going 3 of the next 4. How about you?
No, I'm with you. I think Florida's talented enough to win all 4 games. I just don't think they're going to. It's for the same reason we've talked about for the last 3 years, that good teams find ways to win games and bad teams find ways to lose games. And I'm not gonna sit here and prognosticate as to what form it's going to take, but as sure as the sun's going to rise tomorrow, Florida's going to find a way to lose games. I don't know if it'll be because they snap the ball over the punter's head. I don't know if it's going to be because DJ Lagway throws 5 picks. I don't know if it's going to be because we forget how to count to 11 again and that pushes back a game-winning field goal 5 yards. I don't know if it's going to be because our defense just suddenly breaks and reaches F this, I quit mode and let someone run for 500 yards on them. Let's Tommy Castellanos throw for 460 and 6 touchdowns. I don't know what form it's going to take, but the Florida Gators are definitionally a loser of a program right now. They have a losing record since the pandemic ended. and they have had one non-losing season since then. Napier's gone, and that's a great thing, but it's just the stench of his time here. You have guys who are talented and who can make plays, and they do in isolation. You saw it against Georgia, and they'll make enough plays probably to win some of these games, but they won't make enough plays to win them consistently. I've got them beating Kentucky in a scary game. I've got them losing to Ole Miss, and then like you, I think Florida splits those last two, and I'm actually going to flip it. I think Florida – I mean, honestly, I would not be surprised if Florida loses both of those and loses 3 games in a row to end the year. But if I had to pick one, I'd say Florida probably beats Tennessee and loses to FSU. I mean, that would just strike me as so quintessential Billy Napier tenure, just because the stench that he left behind is still permeating this program, and we're still stuck with it. I could easily see 4-8.
Yeah, I just think that Tennessee is going to be able to really throw it on us, man. Take advantage of our secondary, take advantage of our safeties with the offense that they run. You really got to be disciplined back there, and we've seen it this year, man. Teams that have attacked our safeties have had success. And that's what Tennessee does in that offense. And also, one more thing, man. You got to throw in how many more injuries are we going to get? It seems like every game we get 1 or 2 devastating injuries. So pretty soon, that catches up with you. It already has, obviously, but you still got to wonder, from now 4 more games, who else is going to go down. I wish I had bought stock in those bootlegs that they wear, man, because it seems like every game, there's 2 or 3 new guys on the sideline wearing those bootleg things, walking around the sideline. That wish I had stock in that, man. But that's one thing, hopefully, that the new coach could address. A lot of it, I don't know, man. Bad luck. Maybe a new coach could bring in some new juju or something. But we seem to just get ravaged with injuries too, man. So.
Which I'm not gonna like. I think that's an unfair thing to point up Billy Napier to a degree. Okay. There's a lot of fair criticism. Napier was, and I will go to my grave saying this, the worst coach in the history of Florida Gators football, simply because he did the least with the most at his disposal. There were 5 coaches in Florida's history to have worse records than Napier, but none of them had anywhere close to the resources as disposal that Napier did. So, from what he did with what he had standpoint, Napier is the worst coach in Florida history. I don't think the injuries are fair to put on him. And speaking of, just a random thought popped into my head. Is it me, or does it seem a little weird to you that we've got now Auburn, but also LSU and Penn State, and then some of the lower jobs like UCLA and Arkansas popping up? We have not heard a whisper about Billy Napier being a candidate for any of those open jobs. Is it just me, or does that strike you as a little weird that Billy Napier, this SEC head coach for 4 years of the Florida Gators, is not even being given cursory consideration for the UCLA job or the Arkansas job? Or is that just me?
I know you're saying that tongue in cheek, but yeah, it's not surprising at all. Billy Napier's career is over as far as a Power 4 head coach. We talked about that earlier. I think his legacy right now is going to be how he ruined DJ Lagway moving forward. That's going to be the top thing on his curriculum vitae. Old school resume. That's going to be right at the top. Ruined 5-star DJ Lagway. So, yeah, that guy's done as far as a Power 4 coach goes, man. I also heard, because I got buddies who live in Tennessee, actually, East Tennessee. If Tennessee loses their last 2, Florida, Vanderbilt, they're saying Heupel's gone. And they want to get in on the Lane Kiffin part due.
They're not now. They won't take Kiffin.
That's what I'm hearing.
They will sooner throw golf balls and mustard containers at him than they will accept him back as their head coach. I'm not buying that.
Open up the checkbook. That's what I hear.
Great. I highly doubt the entirety of the fan base will welcome him back. Not to mention the athletic department, but that's for another day.
Another day.
Basketball started, and the Gators started the season with a loss to Arizona. They looked good for a while. I mean, they had a 24-12 lead. Things kind of fell apart from there. Koa Pete took over the game.
Woo.
Arizona beating the Gators 93-87. You worried about the team, or you think this is just a typical road game against the top 15 opponent?
A little 50-50 kind of, a lot of people who know basketball a lot more than me, that I respect a lot, Neil Blackman and stuff like that, had always said that Arizona's front court could possibly be the toughest front court that Florida's going to play all year. Okay? And it didn't disappoint. That guy, Koa Pete, a true freshman, looked like a freaking monster, dude. And it was a road game. Make no mistake about it. That was a road game. Midway through that first half, the crowd really got into it, and it looks like they started to carry that Arizona team a little bit and give them a lot more mojo. It was a home court for them, so this was a road game for Florida. The only thing that I'm concerned about, and like you put a post on it on X, it's the low-hanging fruit, right? Who's going to hit the big shot in lieu of one guy who's in the NBA right now that we
Walter
know?
Clayton.
We don't even need to say his name, although you just did. But who's going to step into that role? That's the only thing that I'm concerned about. There was a couple of big threes at the end of this ball game. One by Lee, one by Boogie, right? I think they both missed.
Boogie had the chance to tie it, and he missed.
Yeah, so, that's the only thing that I'm concerned about. But it's game one. This is basketball. The teams that usually – how a team looks in November – is usually vastly different than what they look like in March. I think they'll be all right. And Todd Golden's when it's all said and done, man, the guy has a national championship up on his wall. So I think he'll figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, on the panic scale, from 1 to 10, 10 being the worst and 1 being this is nothing, it's probably about a 2 out of 10. I mean, giving up 93 points isn't great, and a true freshman's welcome to college basketball, and Koa Pete dropping 30 on you. Also, Jaden Bradley going for 27. And it is a little concerning that the backcourt is not what it was last year. But then I say concerning, but it's something we have to work on. It's not something that I think we're going to be concerned about come March or April this year. I think that there is talent there. Boogie Fland did not have a great game. Xavier Lee was fine, but obviously he's not Walter Clayton either, and no one expects him to be. But that's obviously a change. Florida's used to having guys like Will Richard and Walter Clayton and Elijah Martin in their backcourt making plays, and they're just not there anymore. So it's an adjustment, and we have to get used to that. In the front court, I like Thomas Houck moving to the 3. I don't think it's his most natural position, but hell, I think he can be very good there. He had a fantastic night, 27 points for him, and kept Florida in the game as Arizona continued to threaten to pull away in the second half. Houck was the one who kept them in at 27 points of his own, 4 boards, 2 assists, also 2 steals, also blocked a shot on defense too. So, look, it's game one. It was a road game. That crowd was at least 70-30 Arizona, if not 80-20. So it happens. I'm not worried about it. Let's see how they look the next couple of games.
I want to see a little bit more out of Condon, obviously.
Yeah, Condon was disappointing, for sure.
I thought he would be – I mean, all reports during the offseason and stuff was that this guy was just going to be a monster coming back this year. So we'll see. Maybe he just had a bad game. And it was, like I said, against a good front court. They're probably the best that we'll see all season. But want to see some more out of Condon.
For sure. Next 3 games for Gator basketball, North Florida, FSU, and Miami, none of which are especially great. So let's see how Florida looks in those 3 games before we judge too hard. Now, if Florida goes and they lose to North Florida or they lose to even FSU or Miami, then we got, okay, maybe this is going to be a little bit more difficult of a rebuild than we thought. Because those teams are not spectacular. And they're not, I mean, FSU, Miami are ACC teams, but they're not world beaters by any means. Florida should be Florida should win those games by double digits. So that's that. Let's put a bow on the football for now. The cocktail party, Georgia winning that 24-20. Again, we'll finish up with the final word. As always, we start with the play of the game. Adrian, I think it's pretty obvious, but go for it.
The play of the game, I'm not going the way you think, man. I'm going 2nd and 10 with 1:21 left on the clock in the first half from the 35-yard line. DJ Lagway misses a wide open Tank Hawkins, probably for a touchdown. It would have been like I said, my number 2 keys to victory, get ahead and stay ahead. It would have probably put Florida ahead 17-10 going into the half. Instead, we went 10-10, and Florida ends up losing the middle 8. They lose it 10-0, the middle 8, of which Billy Gonzalez, to his credit, talked about it for a good portion of his presser today. He talked about the middle 8 and about losing it 10-0, and he actually went, Neil, play-by-play in the middle 8. He went play-by-play in his presser. Kudos to you, Billy G. Identify the problem and now try and fix it. Hey, I respect that. But that play right there, I think, is huge, man. Changes the momentum going into the half big time. Puts you up 17-10. One of about 4 passes that DJ Lagway missed badly to wide open guys that would have been probably game changers in this ball game.
Yeah, I mean, the play of the game is obvious, beyond obvious.
Yeah,
it's the ball to Sturdivant. Yeah. Well, it's the ball to Sturdivant that wasn't called a catch.
That one too. Okay.
To me, that was obvious. But yeah,
really
the fourth and 1. I am not anti go for it in that situation. In hindsight, it's obviously 2020. You kick the field goal, you go up 6. Then Georgia scores the touchdown, so then they'll take a 1-point lead. But then your last drive, you'll only need a field goal. You won't be super desperate that you have to get into the end zone. You just need enough yardage to set up Trey Smack for the game-winning field goal. And Trey Smack hit a kick from 54 in this game, so you think you get the ball inside their 35, you can win the game. But it didn't play out that way. So, and you can't assume it would play out that way. So I'm fine going for it. I hated the shotgun look, man. Just line up DJ Lagway behind center and just have him fall forward. And if he's not healthy enough to do that, then you don't have him in the game. But you've got to feel good if your offensive line to get 2 feet. And they just didn't do it.
On the 3rd down play, did you think that was a fumble? How did you see it? The DJ Lagway when he reaches out?
Yeah, I couldn't really tell. They didn't show a lot of replays of that in the stadium.
To me, it didn't look like a fumble. But I've heard people say that to them. I mean, and that just goes to show you, even with replay, man, this type of stuff is so subjective, man. Shane Matthews, I heard him today saying that he thought that was a clear fumble, that Florida got lucky to even have a chance to go for it on 4th down. And, man, I just didn't see it that way. I saw it clearly as DJ Lagway was reaching out. The ball was starting. He was starting to lose the grip on it as soon as he hits the floor, the ground. The ground can't cause the fumble, So to me, that was the proper call. But, yeah, man, you could have had a couple better play calls there, that's for sure. But, yeah, the Sturdivant one, I guess that's a good one too.
Bad throw. I'll say it again. You got to control what you can control.
Yeah.
Didn't do it. Lagway left the ball short, left it up to the referees to interpret it the way they wanted to interpret it, gave them the chance to alter the game. So bad call, but bad throw.
And that was a huge busted coverage because, and I tweeted about this. I was live tweeting about this, Neil, during the game. When KJ Bolden got kicked out of the ball game for targeting, that left Georgia without both of their starting safeties because their other one didn't play because he was injured. So they were out both their starting safeties pretty much for 3/4 of that entire ball game. Okay, and Jordan Hall, their number 1 defensive tackle, was also gone. He got hurt like in the first quarter also. So, I mean, they were there for the pickings, man. They were there for the pickings. That Georgia defense should have been picked apart a little bit more, man. And that's why that busted coverage there happened. You had two backup safeties in that ball game for Georgia, pretty much the whole game.
Missed opportunity, man. Missed opportunity with that. Missed opportunity with the bust that they provided. Missed opportunity on the 4th and inches. Just a missed opportunity of a game. But you know what? That's the Billy Napier tenure in a nutshell. He may be gone, but his effects are still being oh so painfully felt. Player of the game for you is who?
Well, we talked about it a little bit earlier. I got Trey Wilson. Obviously, he stepped up 9 catches for 121 yards and a touchdown. Probably should have had a lot more too, but didn't get the ball to him. So Trey Wilson was my player of the game, Neil.
I got the same thing as you. Trey Wilson was fantastic, as you mentioned. 9 catches, 121 yards. It's absolutely amazing to me that Billy Napier leaves and this guy just magically becomes an All-American in the first game without Napier. It's absolutely astounding to me. 121 yards on 9 catches and a touchdown. I'm unable to adequately elucidate my disdain for Napier as a coach. Not as a person. We've talked about that distinction before. It's nothing personal against him. But just for the record, as a coach, I do hate him. I do hate him very much. And it is such a spectacularly joyful thing to realize he is no longer holding this program back, at least not to the degree that was when he was on the sidelines. But anyway, grades. What have you got? Offense, defense, special teams, coaching, and overall.
Offense, I'll go C-. When it's all said and done. You know, they only got 281 total yards. Neil, I got to go back to my handy-dandy keys to victory from last week's episode. Number 1, okay, 3rd down conversion. Remember my number 1 key to victory? Georgia was ranked 93rd in the nation on 3rd down conversion on defense, okay? They were ranked 93rd in the nation. Muy bad. Florida, muy bad. Florida was 127 on offense on 3rd down conversion. Even worse. If you watched last week's show, I said that might be a key factor in this ball game. Whichever feudal side there does the best probably wins this ball game. Well, let's see what happened. If you look at the result, Florida went 2 for 11 on 3rd down, Neil, and 0 for 2 on 4th down. You know how many average yards Florida gained on 3rd down plays in that ball game?
Tell me.
0.5 yards. Half a yard was what they averaged on 3rd down against Georgia Bulldogs. Okay? Conversely, Georgia went 7 for 15 on 3rd down, almost 50%. That was the ball game right there. Okay? That was the ball game right there. Yeah, everything else is nice. DJ Lagway's, awful footwork, missing throws all over the place. That's all great, which probably leads to some of these 3rd downs, by the way. But that is the ball game right there, man. The 3rd down conversions. So C-, and I think that's actually a good grade, actually. But C-.
Nice.
On defense, yeah, it's kind of nice to be honest. On defense, honestly, I went C. I kind of put a B and then I erased it and I put C. I'm like, they gave up 24 points, which is not bad, but still they gave up 7 to 15 on 3rd down. You know what Georgia's average on 3rd down was? Average yards gained? 8.2 yards they gained on 3rd down. That was the average amount of yards that they gained. So big difference there. The defense did get the only turnover of the ball game. Devin Moore, which I also said having him play was going to be a big factor. It was going to give our defense a shot, and he came up with the only pick. But I still just gave him a C, man. It just felt like there was plays to be made. How many times, Neil, were we in the backfield getting ready to sack
Couldn't get the sack. Got pressure, couldn't get the sack, yeah.
Man, it felt like at least 4 or 5 times. Each time I threw something at the television. It was just so frustrating, man. So special teams, A+. Smack set the record at UF for 50-plus yard field goals, right? Unbelievable. He kept them in this ball game, kicking it from Tallahassee there, all the way to Jacksonville. Coaching, Billy Gonzalez has a special place in my heart, man. I really love Billy G. I want to see this team win just for him. Yeah, I'm a Gator and stuff like that. I like to see Florida win, but if you ask me what's my number one reason I want to see him win right now, is Billy G. I really like that guy, dude. So that's like almost a Billy G C. Okay, but I think O'Hare did a pretty good job, calling plays. A little bit too many DJ Lagway runs for my liking. The one up the middle, that was the kind of play that's just a great play call.
On the 2nd and 20, you're talking on the QB draw immediately. Yeah. I like that. Yeah.
That was just a great play call. It was man coverage. You got him on man coverage. It opened up like the Red Sea, and even a 500-pounder could have gotten about 15, 20 yards there. So that had nothing to do with DJ's running ability, guys. That play had nothing to do with DJ's running ability. That's the type of play that they might call in the NFL, and Tom Brady runs it for like 30 yards. It's just a great play call at that moment. But all the other run calls for DJ, man, I need to see timeout, man. I need to see a lot less of those, dude. I think those are just wasted plays. I'm sorry. He runs like he has a piano on his back, dude. Looks unathletic running the ball. Just unathletic. Coaching. Did we already say coaching? Oh, yeah, that was coaching. That's a C.
Yeah, you gave him the Billy Gonzalez C.
Yeah, the Billy Gonzalez, my heart C. Boom, 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 boom. Overall, again, a C, I guess. We kept it close. That's where we are with Georgia. Unfortunately, guys, that's where we are. I want to take this moment to thank the Lord for giving me the 90s. We talked about that last week. I had so much fun beating the brakes off these dumb dogs, So I have that in my back pocket, man, because losing to these guys, I can't imagine being in my 20s right now and 30 and just taking these humiliating defeats to these guys every year, I have the 90s in me still, so, and we have a little bit of the early 2000s, right?
Yeah,
a little bit of that. Yeah.
Urban, yeah. Zook owned them. Ron Zook owned them.
Yeah. So it ain't all that bad.
Jim McElwain owned them too.
But Spurrier really humiliated these guys, which takes me to the whole Kirby Smart having the guy take the knee at the 1. Woo! Yeah. I don't know if some people had some bets in there or something. Hey, I'm not accusing anybody, okay? Hey, to each their own, but that was weird, okay? So, 5 straight losses to Georgia. I guess a C is the best you're going to get out of me overall. How about you, buddy? What are your grades, Neil?
Yeah, I'll go quick. DJ Lagway really hurts the offensive grades. I like Lagway a lot as a person, and from what I saw last year with him, I know he can do it, but
can he? Can he?
Yeah, he can. He can.
Last year he didn't do much. Last year,
he made the plays he had to against LSU and Ole Miss last year.
But remember, all the criticism last year was he has no middle game whatsoever.
Yeah, I know, but that was
defense. He cannot read a zone.
That's where you expect a good coach to develop him, and it didn't happen. But no, Lagway really struggled. There's no other way to say it. He just wasn't good, and it killed the whole offense because as the quarterback goes, so goes the offense. Gators held to under 300 yards in this game, and that's honestly, man, that's a failure. It's not that F, but man, this is the weakest Georgia's defense has been certainly since the pandemic, possibly since Kirby's first year here. and you just can't do anything to take advantage of it. And some of it's the coaching, both in the game with the play calls, like on the fourth down going shotgun, and then the coaching throughout the year to not fix DJ's footwork, or his throwing mechanics. But man, that's a wasted opportunity by this offense.
There was.
So yeah, they're going to get an F because they just couldn't get the job done. This was a game the offense had to win, and they just couldn't do it. Defense, I'll give them a C+. I mean, they were fine. They eventually just wilted. They got tired at the end. Like you say all the time, playing defense is hard to do, and they just couldn't. They couldn't hold up for all four quarters. They held Georgia to under 400 yards of offense, which is good. Holding them, I think, to 361 total, which is, again, that's pretty good. But and a lot of that comes at the end, right? And a lot of that comes down the stretch, but the offense couldn't put this game away and put the defense in a spot where they were fighting to seal the game and finish it off, as opposed to they're just holding on to the last splinter as they're about to just drop 1,000 feet from the sky. So I don't know how much I really fault them for that. I'll give them a C+. The special teams was good. I'll give them a B. Trace Mack hitting 50-plus yarders was great. Tommy Doman was great. There was a bad snap on the 54-yard field goal, and the holder did a fantastic job putting the ball down.
Yep.
Yeah.
Tommy Doman, yeah.
Yep, Doman, yeah. So that gets some bonus points for me. And then coaching is going to get a solid C, like you said. I thought the play calling was fine for the most part. I don't agree with every single call, but then you're never going to agree with every single call. I liked the 2nd and 20 QB draw that you talked about, and I liked how the offense was finally operating the way that this roster was amassed to operate, with deep balls when Lagway could hit them, but you finally let your pass catchers you finally let your receivers be the best pass catchers, the most featured pass catchers in your offense. Finally seeing Trey Wilson get touches after fans have been screaming for that for 3 years now. We finally saw that, which was great. And then when it wasn't him, J. Michael sort of been getting a couple of looks. Dallas Wilson with only one catch before he went out. But, I mean, Trey Wilson was finally the featured piece. He caught 9 balls on the day, and the rest of the Florida team as a whole caught 6. Lagway completes 15 passes on the day. 9 of them are to Trey Wilson. So make of that what you will. But at least it's a wide receiver who's catching all those passes. So that's good. Overall, I'll give them a D. It's a passing grade, but you lost the game, and it's hard. It's really difficult to give good grades in a losing effort. The expectation is to win ball games. It's not to play it close. It's not to just hang around and fight for 4 quarters. No, the expectation at Florida is to win football games. When you don't do it, your grades aren't going to be good. So it's not a complete and utter embarrassment, because Florida did not embarrass themselves in this game. They have a lot of things that they can build off of, but they lost the damn game. They get a D. So that's my grades. All right, Adrian, putting a bow on this game. Hopefully next year with a new coach, Florida can compete right away. That was my biggest positive takeaway. When we talk positives first on this show, that was my big positive takeaway. The right coach can come in, and the Gators can win a lot of games in year one. But this season, as we know, is now shot. National championship, the CFP, SEC championship, that's all well out the window. That was gone several weeks ago. At this point, salvaging the season, pulling a miracle would mean getting to a bowl game this year. And, I mean, let's at least try to salvage that by beating some rivals. But, I mean, it's just disappointing right now to be a Florida Gator. Yeah. It sucks right now. But, in all kinds of weather, we'll all sit together for FLORIDA. And until next time.
One more thing, man, before you sign off real quick. In this coaching search, guys, don't go crazy with roster retention and signing class and oh my God, the portal. The most important thing is to get the coach right.
Get the right coach.
Okay? If that causes a crappy signing class or a late start to the portal, or maybe some guys hit the portal, then so be it. Because first of all, you don't even know if the next coach is going to even want some of these players, with all due respect to them. Okay? Players don't get cut nowadays, but with NIL, you do sit them down and say, hey, man, there might be better NIL opportunities for you somewhere else. Okay? So don't be surprised if some players aren't back next year, regardless of who the coach is.
Yeah.
All right? Don't hold that against the coach, okay, that's hired.
I agree. I think it is worth tanking one recruiting class to get the next 10 of them right.
For sure.
I will happily make that trade, especially after seeing Napier land top 10, 15 classes and never doing better than 7 and 5 with them. I will happily just blow up one recruiting class if it means losing guys like Jaraylin McCoy. Whatever. I'd like to keep him. I'd like to keep a guy like CJ Hester. We had him on this very podcast. Love the kid. Love to see him play for Florida. I will happily lose them all to get the right coach in who then can dominate the recruiting trail for the next 10, 15 years, get the NIL game in good order, and have the Gators running like a machine. You got to remember not to trade what you want down the road for what you want right now. We all want to win now. I want to win now, and I do think that retaining this roster next year sets Florida up for a possible CFP run. But if the new coach, if you get the hire right, if it is a Lane Kiffin, if it is a Jeff Brom from Louisville, then, you hire him to make the decisions he feels to be the best for the program. And until he proves incapable and unworthy of holding that position, you got to just trust him. So, Napier lost that trust from me pretty quickly, but the new coach, assuming he's not historically bad like Napier is going to have to be given the opportunity to do things as he sees fit. So just got to wait and see how that plays out. But until next time, y'all, he's Adrian. I'm Neil. In all kinds of weather, we all stick together for FLORIDA. Here is to more sunny times ahead to be able to cover our beloved Gators.